Hey everyone, it's TB Shores. It is October the 30th, 2019. It's 10:34 p.m. There's a lot of things that are just reeling through my mind. I feel like the Lord is showing me what I refer to as a marker in time. It may hold great significance. It's just we have to watch and see where it leads. I continue to do my seeking the Lord and my notebooks and things. He's just not leading me to put a lot of things up. I'm sure there's a reason for that. But this I feel like I'm supposed to share. You need to seek Him on it for understanding. I guess I'll start by explaining some of the most recent scripture that I have been in is concerning Solomon building the temple. Okay, I've done a lot of reading on tabernacle, the ark, the temple. The main thing I want to focus on right now is the building of the temple. I feel like the Lord is showing me some significant things within the building of the temple and how it pertains to His building of our temple that He's going to dwell in, our new body that He will give us. I'm not going to get into that right now, but something that I ran across in the scripture while I was studying that. And it kept eating at me, and I kept going back to it and back to it. And I'm going to pop over here first. And as you can see, this is, you have to excuse my squeaky chair. This is the Jewish calendar, and it is for this month of October. Okay, now the reason I bring this up is if you will look, let me see if I can find it again, right here. If you look right here in 2 Chronicles chapter 3 verse 2, he says, "And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month." Now it's talking about when he began to build the temple. Solomon began to build the temple for the Lord. Okay. In the 2nd month, in the 2nd day. And I read it. It kind of jumped up in my face. And I kept reading, but I kept going back to it. 2nd month, 2nd day. There's something about that the Lord was trying to show me. Now I'm going to try to move the camera over to my Bible so you can see just what I see. Okay. All right, right here is where I was reading. It says 2nd month, 2nd day. But if you'll see, it has an A here for a reference. And you come over here and it says May. Well, that stood out to me because the Lord had me really focused on May Day for quite a while. And I've got several videos about it. And then we see this 2nd day of the 2nd month, okay? And what stood out to me and a friend of mine concerning this was, and I'm going to take you back to some of my videos. As you can see, let me point out here, I've done several that have to do with May Day, May, and things that connect with that. So you see May Day. The Lord had me focused in on that for quite some time. And I was trying to understand the significance of it. And I never really fully understood it, but I knew there was something important about it, even though I didn't understand. And sometimes it's not meant for us to understand till the fullness of it comes in. So just bear with me, okay? So as I showed you May and 2nd month, 2nd day, as in 2-2, it reminded me and a friend of mine of this right here. If I can get back to it, right here. I'm sure some of you remember when I put this up where the Lord had spoke to me saying over by a period of May 22nd. So there's your May 2-2. So is that showing me that second day, second month is significant? And it had the word May in my Bible as in reference to that time. It struck me as very interesting. So I continued to seek the Lord on things. Of course, I discussed things with a friend of mine, and we kind of seek things out together a lot of times. So some of the things that we came across, I think you're going to find interesting, as in this May, and this interesting tie to May 22nd, as in the May and the 2-2 in the Bible there. And I'm trying to think, where is the other? There was another. Oh, yes. I'm about to forget. Where the Lord had given me back in March. It was March the 20th of this year. He had spoke to me the word Reformation. And then he gave me a word that followed that. That's about a decent paragraph long. But the interesting thing about Reformation, first of all, let's go over here and let's look at this again. That's scripture. It says second day of the second month. So we know that the Hebrew calendar, or the Jewish calendar, has 2 New Years. Okay? And so the one that the Lord wanted me to look at, because I knew there was 2 New Years, was the one that had just come in. Rosh Hashanah. Okay? And Rosh Hashanah, hold on here, right here. Okay? Here is where Rosh Hashanah come in. So this is your first month, Tishri. This is your first month of the civil Jewish year. So as we go through the first month, okay, we get to the last day. So, of course, this would be the second month. So this is the first day of the second month and the second day of the second month, which is what we read in Scripture. Second day of the second month. So this is the second day of the second month. And where does it fall? It falls right here on October 31st. Okay, and I'm like, okay, now that's interesting, because I had come across that over several times over the course of the years and wondered, is there a significance in God's time frame concerning October 31st? Well, if you do some homework on Halloween and origins of Halloween, you see there are some connections. Let's just go over here and just look at this. All Hallowtide, okay? All Hallowtide, which is also known as Hallowtide, All Saints Tide, or Hallowmas season, is the Tridrum, I guess that's how you say that, in a religious observance lasting 3 days, okay? So I thought that was interesting. I never really heard of All Hallowtide. My friend, she had sent this to me. And so we were looking at Halloween. That was the thing. We were looking at Halloween because second day of the second month fell on Halloween. So we both, I'm thinking it's maybe 3 nights ago now, we both received a dream about Halloween. Not in the sense of some scary, crazy something going on, but I won't get into all of what her dream entailed, but her dream ended with her carving with an engraver, or a router, her engraving the word Halloween in a piece of wood. And then I had a dream that same night that was connected with Halloween, in that there were costumes and people on sidewalks going out in pairs in costumes. And I'm not going to get into great detail with that. Just to let you know that we both had dreams about Halloween. Now, as we continue to talk about this and look into things, one thing that stood out, just bear with me here, was right here. Now, if you remember, the Lord had me focused on May and May Day for quite some time, and I did several videos on it, and Carl Jackson, the Lord had spoke to him about May Day, and he was looking into it as well at the same time. But what I want us to look at right here is this, okay? Now keep in mind, we're talking about All Hallowtide, which is Halloween, is 3-day time set aside for this All Hallowtide. The first day is Halloween, which is the eve of All Saints Day, and then you have All Saints Day and All Souls Day. So, listen to this. This arrangement worked very well at first, because what this is talking about is having a day set aside for a martyr, when someone was martyred for the Lord. So they're talking about that arrangement. It worked very well at first, but soon there were more martyrs than there were days in the year. And so one day was set apart in honor of them all and called All Saints Day. This took place about the year AD 610. The day of the year on which the festival first occurred was the 1st of May. Well, you can't imagine how shocked we were to see that this All Saints Day, which is connected with Halloween, was originally set in play in May, okay? Now there is another, I'll just show it to you. There's another site that says, in the beginning, the Feast of All Holy Martyrs, which is the same, was observed on May 13th, okay, by Pope. But Pope George Gregory decided to include all saints in a it's late at night and I can't even read. All Saints in the feast day, calling it Feast of All Saints and moving the date to November the 1st, okay? So it used to be a May Day. Whether it was May 1st or May 13th, it is still a May Day. Do you understand the connection there, okay? And they moved this May Day to November 1st, which is in connection with Halloween. Okay, so now that we've looked at May Day and how it does have a connection to Halloween, I want us to look at Reformation. Now, the Lord gave me this, like I said, March the 20th, and I'm thinking I may need to put this in the next video because this is running close. I'll just cut this off here and I'll pick up with Reformation on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.